right, guys, welcome back to another video. We are going to be diving into all things around the stock market. Now, I'm using the stock market as a broad term for these public markets, right? You can buy bonds, stocks, ETFs, mutual funds, trade options. There's a whole slew of things you can do and a lot of derivative products. I'm just going to call that all the stock market. Okay, it's what we traditionally think of as such. We're going to dive into all the details. I'll do a lot of different videos on breaking it down all the way from what products are available, what they do, what's the risk, and how to kind of create your own portfolio as far as investing in the stock market. I'm going to dive into all those details, but first I just want to talk about some of the advantages of investing in the stock market. Okay, why is this a good pathway to building wealth? So that's what we're going to discuss in this video. There's a couple reasons. I'll break it down quickly and then we can get into nitty-gritty details. Okay. The number one reason why the stock market is a fantastic way to build wealth is because it's easy to do. It is not time intensive, or it doesn't have to be. You certainly could put in a lot of time into it, but it does not have to be time intensive. Okay. The barrier to entry is low. And what I mean by that is you don't need a lot of time, expertise, or capital to actually get going. I mean, you can start for free and invest as little as, a few dollars. That's the point that we're at today. It hasn't always been that way. In the past, the stock market was not very accessible to the vast majority of people. It was hard to invest. Commissions, broker commissions, and things like that were expensive because there was a lot of work to do, a lot of manual labor. Access to information was very low. And so in order to invest and in order to choose investments, you had to trust people with access to information, and they commanded a high fee for that. Okay, so all the brokers, if you want to buy a stock, then you could buy it. There's a lot of commissions involved and you had to go through people. So there's a lot of layers there. We're at the point now where essentially all commissions have been reduced to zero as far as retail brokerage firms. So I'm talking like Fidelity, Charles Schwab, TD Ameritrade, E-Trade, Robinhood, right? Commissions are basically zero across the board, okay? The other thing is, in the past, if you wanted to buy a stock, you had to buy the full face value of the stock. If there was a stock worth $350 for one share, you had to have at least $350 because you had to buy at least one share. Well, now that's changed as well because we can buy fractional shares. You can say, I want to buy $5 worth of such and such a stock. And that's an option now. That's only a recent development within the last couple of years. And so based on how everything has evolved, our access to information, our ability to invest, the low time commitment, low capital commitment, and the fact that once it's invested, you essentially don't have to do a whole lot if you don't want to, that makes investing in the stock market extremely easy and very, very, very appealing. Okay. Another reason why investing in the stock market is a great way to building wealth is because if you think about what you're investing in, you are investing in a company, and that company's goal is to grow profits, grow market size, grow top line revenue, on and on and on. They are battling out between competitors. They're constantly trying to get to the next level, and they are doing all the work. So essentially, you can purchase a share, own equity in a company, and that company does all the work. They are doing all of the work for you. So essentially, when you say I'm investing in the stock market, you are investing in companies. It could be a lot, it could be little, it could be here in the US or outside the US, but you're investing in companies that are solely focused on growing their company. And that's what they do all day, every day. So you don't have to think about it. If you go broad, especially, and you're investing in, an index fund, for example, something that mirrors an index, you're betting on the US economy, or you're betting on, if you're invested in another country, then you're betting on that country's economy, right? So here in the US, we think about the S&P 500, the Standard & Poor's 500 index. It tracks the largest 500 companies in the US, and it just tracks and sees how they grow. and their growth and their decline, right? The ups and downs. If you invest in it in a fund or a product that mirrors that index, essentially you are betting on the American economy. And history has shown that to be a pretty good bet. Okay, it's got a really long track record. There have been ups and downs, of course, but over time it's been a pretty solid bet. Okay. And so a lot of people like to talk down about investing in the stock market and things like that. You don't control it. You don't do any of these things. You know, it can go up and down. It's rigged. I don't know, but I can look at the data and see that the economy in the US, I have pretty high confidence in the economy over the long term and the innovation that this country kind of permits, right? Allows a lot of flexibility. There's a lot of innovation within companies themselves, within new companies, with capital allocators, people that are investing in different areas, different companies, different projects. I have pretty high confidence in the US economy. So if you do, then it's a pretty good bet. You don't have to do a lot. You just invest. The work is being done by other people. Okay, so it's very passive, very, very passive. So ease of access and the fact that you are investing and banking on or betting on an outcome, a very positive outcome based on the work of thousands and millions of people around the country trying to make their companies successful. Okay, so that's why the stock market. Now we're going to dive into all the different things and, you know, how do you invest and all the detailed questions. But these are the main reasons why the stock market is great. When we talk about ease as well, ease of investing, right? In your 401k, you don't even have to look at anything, right? Money comes right out of payroll, right out of your paycheck, is invested automatically. You literally can set something up once, never think about it again, and end up having, you know, $1 million a couple decades later. Like that's pretty amazing when you think about it. Okay, it's pretty incredible, that opportunity and the way that everything is set up. So that's a pretty good intro as to the positives of the stock market. And we're going to dive into more details around it and how it compares to other investment opportunities that are available. So we'll see you guys in the next video.
Hit subscribe and take the next step toward financial freedom.